All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's Prospect Now webinar, the first one for 2017. We welcome you. Today's topic is using hyper-targeted marketing to reach qualified refinance borrowers. My name is Warren Nagatani, I'm the Vice President of Sales here at Prospect Now. And here's what you can expect for us to cover today. Let me go to the agenda slide. So first we'll talk a little bit about Prospect Now and who we are. And then we're going to talk about and expose the two problems with traditional digital display ads. Talk about the solution, and we're going to introduce to you today a new product, the ProspectNow Hyper-Targeted Marketing Platform. We're going to talk a little bit about Zillow, Facebook, and direct mail and how they compare to this hyper-targeted marketing platform. I'll show you a brief demo, and then we'll show you how to get started with creating your first digital campaign and talk about the advantage of using ProspectNow and how you will benefit. But before we start, just to take care of some housekeeping, there will be a few polls. There's 4 questions that we'll do throughout today's webinar. If you have a question, feel free to locate the chat window or the question box on your control panel and go ahead and type those to me, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you, most likely at the end of today's webinar. So let's go ahead and get started here. First of all, ProspectNow. We are a SaaS real estate and lender software marketing platform. We've had millions in revenue and we're profitable on operations today. One of our investors includes Dennis DeAndre, the founder of LoopNet. And we have over 4,000 paid users. And you can see some of the logos that we have here displayed, some of the biggest and brightest financial and real estate institutions in the United States. So what is ProspectNow? We use predictive analytics to identify hyper-targeted audiences for the delivery of advanced digital marketing for the real estate and lending industries. Said another way, we allow you to identify the owners of properties that are expected to either sell or refinance in the next 12 months and then hyper-target those owners by displaying digital ads directly to these owners in their homes on any connected device. This approach to marketing minimizes really, wasted marketing spend for you. It increases your ROI and engages you earlier with your targets in their decision-making process. Now, what I'm going to do is, before we go to the next slide, is we're going to run a poll. There's 2 questions here, and they'll display here for you in a moment. And they're multiple choice, so go ahead and answer those questions, and I'll give you a couple of minutes to do so right now. All right, we're going to wrap up that first question and get to the second question, which will display right now. All right, that's fantastic. Really appreciate you participating in the polls. It really helps guide us in how we present and the type of information we provide to you in the future. So let's continue on with the webinar. So let's talk about the first of the two problems with traditional digital display advertising. Number one is actually an audience problem. And what it is most of your audience doesn't care. Most of your audience doesn't care. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me explain that to you. On average, 1 out of every 8 properties will refinance in a year. In other words, 88% of the properties will not get a loan this year in the next 12 months. So if your audience is designed in such a way, most of who you're advertising to, it doesn't even matter to them. They do not care. Okay, so that's the first problem. The solution to that problem is identifying high probability households. And if you use ProspectNow's predictive analytics, we can narrow the audience from 1 of 8 to 1 out of every 2 properties will get a loan. So it allows you to focus and market to those that have the highest probability to refinance and allows you to just ignore or not market to the rest. How does it work? Well, first of all, we've collected years of loan transactional information. We've analyzed the data to determine what events happened and, most importantly, why. Then we monitor current data events and apply a patented predictive modeling algorithm to that data. We score and rank the properties as likely to refinance. Okay, so it looks like this. When you're in the ProspectNow application, you do your search of whatever area you want of your property type. Then we apply our algorithm and rank it based on whether it's likely to refinance or not. And we actually categorize them in 3 different ways. High probability, medium probability, and a lesser probability. So it allows you to even further segment your audience in terms of probability of getting a refinance in the next 12 months. All right, that's the first problem. The second problem is a delivery problem. Most of your ad impressions are not seen by humans. Well, what are they seen by? That's a great question. Let's talk about the numbers first. 81% of all internet traffic is fraudulent traffic. Or put another way, 81% of all internet traffic is non-human traffic. And 56.1% of all digital ad impressions served are never seen. In other words, 56.1% of these ads are not seen or served to human beings. Well, who says that? Google themselves says that. So know that an overwhelming majority of the traffic is non-human and a majority of the ads served are not seen by humans. Well, who sees these? What's the non-human traffic, you say, right? Well, here are some of the most common ones. Server farms, malware, toolbars, crawlers, click farms, and bots. I think we've all seen something where we're doing something on the internet and the CAPTCHA asks us if we're a bot or not, right? And you have to click the box or look at the image and put a number in or something like that to get by that. And that's how it identifies whether or not you're a human being, because you take some sort of action that a human would take. And fraudulent traffic costs advertisers $8.2 billion a year wasted. So this is the solution to the delivery problem is the ProspectNow IP targeting. We have a patent pending process that combines more than 30 public data elements that allow us to hyper-accurately map an IP address to a real home address, so that your audience now is not only 1 out of 2 that will refi instead of 1 out of 8, but will deliver that audience to real people. So at best today, with zone targeting, the chances of hitting your household are 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 12. With ProspectNow IP targeting, the chance to hit your target audience is 1 to 1. Average household's got nearly 4 people, so your chances of hitting that individual in your household is about 1 out of 4. And we actually do things like remove kid websites and manage where we serve the ads, so that your chance of hitting that real person in their household is about 1 out of 2. So you can see that the ability to target precisely who ought to see your ad and then deliver it to real people, addresses of properties predicted to refi, reaches your targets in their homes on any connected device to a real person with measurable actions for banner and video ads. So the combination of ProspectNow predictive analytics to determine your target audience and ProspectNow IP targeting to deliver the ads to real people in your target audience is the total solution for your internet advertising issue. So before we go on, and we only have a few more slides before we do the demo, I want to ask another couple of questions. So there's a poll here. There's 2 questions. If you could do for me, just spend a couple of minutes answering these. So here's the first question. All right, that's fantastic. Here's the second and final question, and we really appreciate you taking the time to answer these. We'll give you a few seconds and then we'll move on. All right, fantastic. Thank you for taking that time again. So let's talk about Zillow, Facebook, and direct mail comparison. So if you're using Zillow, in comparison to ProspectNow's hyper-targeted marketing, it's a very high cost per lead, and it's non-exclusive. And what I mean by that, and I'm sure you know this, is that that lead is not only sold to you, it's sold to other lending institutions, right? So it's not uncommon, in fact, it's very common for someone in the same company sitting right next to you to get the same lead at the same time. The third one is the lead is already shopping. By their own behavior, the only way they get there is to be on the Zillow site and fill out what's called a long form that has a bunch of questions. Then they're shown display ads, and then they can choose which one to contact, even though others are given and sold that lead as well. Worst case is the lead is just looking. I wonder how much, I can get on a refi, or I wonder how much my house is worth, or something like that. So that's the trouble with identifying an audience based upon their behavior. Let's talk about Facebook advertising, and a lot of people do Facebook advertising. The audience on Facebook is identified by behavioral traits. In other words, if I'm on Facebook and I like a real estate company, I like a loan company, I like somebody that's a lender, I like an article or a video that talks about refinancing or something like that, that and the information you've provided creates the audience that's chosen. Another problem is there's limited ad size and spec, and I think another problem is lots of noise on Facebook. There's the news feed, there's the ads, there's the promotions, there's this, there's the remarketing, there's a lot of things going on. It's really good for brand awareness if you want to deliver your brand and get people aware. The other, and I think the last problem, is the audience is only on Facebook. All right, so you will only, once they leave that, you're not being shown, obviously. Now with direct mail, tried and true, one of the big problems is there's one impression per piece. And what do I mean by that? Gets dropped in the mail, your target audience picks it out, they take it in the house, they do several things with it. Drop it in the trash can, set it on the counter, or they look at it. Now granted, they may set it on the counter and walk by that thing 20 times in the next week. That doesn't mean they're looking at it. Doesn't mean that there's any focus on it whatsoever. So the problem there is that you have a high cost per impression. Theoretically, it's 1-to-1. So if it's a 50-cent mailer you're dropping, it costs you 50 cents per impression, right? The differences would be with ProspectNow is you're delivering 40 to 50 impressions per month to your target audience. So your cost per impression is a lot lower. Target audience is spot on. We think they're going to refinance not based on their behavior, but based on other things like the length of their loan, how long they've held the property, the difference between the 10-year treasury rate and their current rate. A lot of things go into how we determine that, as well as the delivery piece, which allows us to get it right to a person in their home. All right, so let's go ahead and do a demo real quickly. All right, here's ProspectNow. And so I'm going to show you how to do a likely seller feature, or a likely refinance search, I'm sorry. First thing we're going to do is go to property search. And I'm in Santa Clara County in California, and you can see, I think I did a search earlier, single family residences, 125,000 plus. I'm going to go to more filters, and I'm going to show you how to do the search real quickly, okay, but I'm going to go ahead and reset this one so I can walk you through it. So first, location, state, county. I'm going to choose all cities in this particular county. The next thing I want to do is choose likely refinance right there. So this is going to invoke the algorithm and apply it to our search. I'm going to choose my property type, in this case SFR. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to choose some characteristics for my search. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose an LTV. So I'm going to choose anything from 1% to 80%, so nothing greater than 80% loan-to-value ratio. The next thing I'm going to do is a very cool feature. I'm going to choose a lender, and I'm going to choose not contained. So in other words, let's say I work for Chase. I'm going to search for any loan that meets this criteria not executed, or the lender is not Chase. So I'm Chase, so I don't care about my own loans, I care about everybody else's, right? The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a loan amount. Let's say I want anything greater than $300,000. Pick your number, I'm just using that number. Okay? So let's review the criteria. California, Santa Clara County, all cities, likely refinance algorithm for single-family residences whose LTV is anything 80% or less, with a loan amount of $300,000 and the lender is not Chase. So when I do that search, and that's a really tight search, I think, you're going to see 52,264 meet that criteria in a pretty big geographic area, right? Highly populous. But now, what are my results? Okay, so you can see here, notice this likely refinance column in my list view, and you can see the score here, 100%, very high refi probability. As I scroll down, you can see that number is different. It just depends on what the algorithm is looking at and scoring it on. Suffice to say, anything green is high probability. There's a medium probability and a lesser probability as well. Okay? So that's your audience, which is quite a large audience, and you can pare that down or expand it depending upon what you want to do with geography, property types, and other criteria. So it's as simple as that. And then what you would do is really the next thing to do after that, once you've chosen this criteria, is, of course, we have all the owner information, the name, the mailing address, right? And this is where we take the addresses. This is the address of the owner of the property. By the way, you could choose to look for owner occupied, yes or no, or leave it both. Either way, the owner of the property is the mailing address is the owner of the property and not the property itself. If it's owner occupied, obviously that's it. But if it's not, we're sending it to where the owner of the property is. We have all the property information. We have the historical lending transactions on the property as well. So there's your audience. Next, let me go back to the slides real quickly here. Okay, we're almost done. So the way to get started on creating this digital ad campaign is first choose your audience, which we just did, then contact your ProspectNow account manager. You're going to determine that audience, which we just did, determine the number of ad impressions you want, create your ads, designate your landing page, right? So where you want, when somebody clicks on the ad, where do you want them to go? Probably your website with a questionnaire set up that qualifies these people. ProspectNow will create and execute the campaign and provide you measurement and reporting. So what does it look like? So you've seen these ads, and many of you are probably using these, and these are real estate ads right now that we're showing you. But there's a lot of different formats that you can use. I just picked 3 of the most common, right? And you can see here's a sample page, web page, where they might be displayed. It just depends on the website itself, right? But here's an example of what they might look like. You would create these with your call to action and your image and your logo and all that. And I think some of the common best practices are have a face, high quality photo, have a logo, and a call to action. Do you know what your home is worth? Just listed in Palo Alto if you're doing something like that, right? As opposed to no call to action here. And once you've created the campaign and we've launched it, these will display to your target audience in their homes at a rate of somewhere between 40 and 50 per month. Okay? So you choose how many impressions total, how many households, in other words, people, and then we roll this ad campaign out. And if you've done your creative well, they can click on these, go to your landing page, and fill out your form or whatever your call to action is. So the advantage here, just to summarize, and we're going to wrap up here and go to Q&A, is that Prospect Now campaigns, these digital ad campaigns, the hyper-targeted marketing, is 50 to 100 times more targeted than traditional media. It's 6 to 60 times more effective than common online ads. And it's 100% cookie-free. In other words, we don't depend upon a user or your target audience coming to a site and setting a cookie and then showing them ads. It's all done. We target them based upon our predictive analytics and their historical information on their property. This results in a 3.2% or 3.2 times higher click-through rate on your ads than industry average. That is an amazing statistic. And Prospect Now is better because the audience is precise. We talked about this. That's the problem number one, right? Patented predictive analytics choose targets most likely to refinance. Then we target those people at the individual household level and eliminate non-human traffic. We only target households where we have a 95% confidence level or above in displaying those ads. So how you benefit? Number one, you're going to minimize your marketing spend. This increases your return on investment, and I think most importantly, it engages your prospects earlier in their decision process. So before they go to Zillow, before they go to Bankrate, and they actively engage in a lender, you can get to them before they do that. So target those households before they go shopping, identify possible borrowers before they go online and fill out that rate quote form, and avoid the rate war. All right, we're going to go to Q&A, and remember, if you have any questions, find that question box or the chat on your control panel and chat me those. If you are interested in learning more about Prospect Now's hyper-targeted marketing campaigns, see a custom demo, pricing, or more information, here's how you can do that. Go to our website, hit the contact button, pick up the phone, give us a call, or if you're the shy type, send us an email. Send it to sales@prospectnow.com, and we will be happy to set up a time to show you how this thing works and answer your questions. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to Q&A here, and I'm looking at questions come in, so we're going to go ahead and take care of those and answer chats. All right, well, we thank you for joining us today. We know your time is valuable. We hope this was not only informative, but it gives you some ideas about how you can proceed with your marketing this year. You know, there's a lot of things you can do, and just to cut through the clutter, we hope that this helps you at least plan to where you can allocate marketing dollars if you're a lender. And again, give us a call or send us an email. We'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about the Prospect Now hyper-targeted marketing. Thanks again, and have a great day.